Hello guys, welcome back to another video. In this video, we are going to be talking about the journey of Snuggles and Fun Crafts. I did a poll and I had literally I think the only votes were for the journey of Snuggles and Fun Crafts except for one. So thank you for voting. I have my notes off to the computer, so if I look off to the side, I'm looking at my computer. I'm going to go ahead and just start all the way from the beginning about like I've been crocheting for like I'm gonna go start from the beginning. So okay, I have been crocheting since 2008. I was like, or 2009. It wasn't long till my parents moved into the house that I have my second office in, where I started crocheting, because I was in the 3rd grade when I learned that crocheting was even a thing. So yeah, I was introduced to crocheting because my teacher at the time split the class up between looming and crocheting. I was assigned to looming, however I saw them crocheting. I was interested, but of course we couldn't change it at the time because I mean it was just already split. I don't hate loom knitting, but I don't do it anymore. I kind of fell off the ball because I like crocheting a lot more. There's a lot more you can make and it's got a neater look to it. So I'm gonna say about 2008, 2009, somewhere around there. I was like young, so I try my best. When I was loom knitting, it was mostly scarves and hats. I was trying to figure it out, and I also did socks. I learned how to do socks. But when I was actually crocheting, after I was taught through Crochet Crowd YouTube videos, I'm a visual learner, so I had to learn from a YouTube video. And at that time, the main one was Crochet Crowd. I still love them to this day. I just don't watch a lot of YouTube tutorials anymore. Even though I'm still a visual learner. So yeah. My first struggle was the chain. I don't have any pictures of me actually like trying to learn because I think I was just now getting a new phone and I was just looking up YouTube videos. But I'm left-handed. I'm a left-handed crocheter. And at the time, there was not many videos on left-hand crochet. So I was trying to figure that out. But then I was also trying to figure out tension. I was also trying to figure out how the chains were even supposed to be. And when I first started out, I tend to pick the stitch up off the hook and put it over the top part of the hook. Like the little bend. I got this one. This is from a custom order. Like I would pick this up. Let me demonstrate it. Like I would pick this second loop up over this hook. Like I would have it like that. But when I was actually crocheting, I made scarves, blankets mostly, dishcloths, and because I think that was it. A good bit of it. Yeah. I did switch back and forth from looming and crocheting because I was trying to figure out like just the basic generic like loops. And I relied on YouTube tutorials before I even knew patterns was a thing at the time. I still don't have the ones where it has the little V and all that. I don't go for, I'm not a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of YouTube tutorials and actual written down, like written patterns, like SC. Like I know most of the terminology, but if it's like the actual V, yeah, no. And if you see this, sorry, I just got back from the doctor. So, and we have to leave this on, so sorry. The most of the things that I have made was mainly gifts and stuff to try to learn different techniques. Like I remember me making a scarf on the loom knitting, but then when crocheting, I was trying to figure out, I think my two main stitches were single crochet and half double crochet. Those were my two favorite ones. I hated triple crochet. I hated it at time. It's not my most favorite stitch at this moment. However, I don't hate it as much as I did back in the day. But I also did not like double crochet, but I love double crochet. I think it's as easy as a half double crochet. All right, so that is from me learning how to crochet. I'm also, before I get down to the entrepreneur stuff, I started with acrylic. So Red Heart was my love. I remember the biggest project I've ever done, which broke my heart after like it was falling apart, was while I was still learning like different like stuff to make. I made a daisy flower granny square, because granny squares were my thing. Like granny squares were my thing back in the day, and still is. I love them. I don't know if she still has it to this day. I really don't know, but that was over 160 squares in over probably 3 months to make. So I really hope she made it. But also made closer to 2014, I got diagnosed with anorexia and I was in the hospital for a couple weeks, and I was working on a blanket for my mother. And I think I was working on it even past like the hospital. I was looking up crochet crowd, of course, and I forgot what it was. It was like one of their Christmas patterns, and I don't even know, my mother still has it. But I remember I saw it one time and it was falling apart and I was kind of sad. But also I was learning a lot about joining granny squares at that time with blankets. So I probably didn't weave in the ends at the time or blocked it. Blocking is now a thing. I never heard about it back then. So, all right, we're going to fast forward to, I kind of in the timeline started from like elementary school, and I'm now in like, I ended up in middle school with like my journey back then. But we're now going to go into the entrepreneur aspect of how I really started selling crochet stuff, and got into the mindset of growing in my business at the time. But I wasn't even like classified as a business because I was like 16 when I went into high school. All right. So I was crocheting. I don't think I was crocheting my freshman year. I had a lot of stuff going on mentally. Like I was going to doctor's visits. I mean, I think I was like off to the side. I can't really remember that far. But I know I didn't have a lot of time. If you hear my husband in the background, we're dog sitting and he's babysitting my cat and my dog because my cat is being very territorial today. All right, back to the topic. But when I was crocheting during my sophomore year, I met my husband in 2015 in December, but we officially started dating in January 2016. I did not crochet during Smart Lunch up until after he graduated, because we were just freshly new into a relationship, and we were also working on my eating at the time. So, but in sophomore year, I was crocheting while on Smart Lunch. With Smart Lunch, we had a whole hour. We had a whole block hour. You got your food, which I already had at the time. I had brought my lunch bag and I brought something to work on. So I had that. And I went to my Spanish teacher's classroom to go crochet. And I spent like 30 minutes on it at least. So that's 30 minutes a day that I was crocheting to give me enough time to eat. when I was actually crocheting in there, my Spanish teacher was buying dishcloths off of me because she says I love crochet dishcloths, and I was not really into it until I figured out a little bit. If you do it with acrylic back then, it's not really acceptable now, but back then I was learning of, if you used acrylic, because that's what I had at the time mostly, that you can use half double crochet. So that's what I did back then. But she also wanted bigger size, so that's also why I did that. But now I make mine sincerely out of cotton. I don't do it in acrylic. Then, after a while of her buying the dishcloths out of me, I would put them in a little bag and just give it to her. She would buy sets of them. Sets, like 3 sets at a time. I think I was charging her like $5 a set. Yeah. But it didn't take long. It was kind of distracting me from all the stuff that I was going through. And then after that, my classmates were wanting custom made blankets. A lot of them was. I remember one of the ones that was in my Spanish class specifically wanted a half Clemson, half Gamecock inspired blanket. And I never made another one since then, but I know basically how I did it. I just color changed, and that was my crocheting in between rows, like color changing. That was my first ever like into that. So it took a lot of trial and error, but I know a lot more about color change now than I did back then. So, but it was a good start, and I'm actually still proud of this blanket. But I also was using felt as well at the time on crochet things, because before I even realized vinyl was even a thing, I was using felt and hot gluing it to there. So, which we kind of do that with felt eye. So I was kind of doing that, but then I also was making custom blankets for the school. I really wanted just to pour back into the school that done a lot for me, especially with high school. So I donated that to the student council. I believe they still have it. I think while I was there was even like posting on their Instagram. But after that, I was selling Clemson blankets with initials. So I was doing like kind of embroidering, but I didn't know it was embroidering at the time. I was doing custom blankets with different rows of different colors. Granny square blankets was my main thing. There was only a few that was like straight up like back and forth crochet blankets. And I was doing baby sets. Oh my gosh, I love those baby sets. I love them. I did mittens. I did the little diaper cover, a blanket, and a hat. That was my options at the time. And this was before I started amigurumi, but I called it plushie at the time. And I discovered amigurumi in 2018. So I believe the first one I made was an elephant, and then I was working at Ingles at the time in 2018, and I was showing my coworkers my work, and I believe one ordered a Snoopy dog, inspired dog, like the little Christmas movie Snoopy. I remember one order was from a Snoopy and a elephant, and then I had my husband drop me off, my now husband drop me off to sell that. But my main thing was elephants. Like, I mean, like I was selling out of elephants at the time. They were ordering it like three every 2 weeks. So yeah. But then after high school, because I mostly sold amigurumi in my junior year and I believe into my senior year, I was kind of just working off and on from orders from coworkers, friends, family members. I worked, I believe, in Zaxby's my senior year. So it's a restaurant chain. I was a cashier. A cook ordered a Clemson blanket. a coworker ordered just a custom colored striped granny square blanket, and I think at that time in 2019 I was also making like giraffe, I believe so. I went to college in August of 2019. I'm now graduated, but I started my business while on summer break of my after my freshman year on July 7th, 2020. And so it's been almost 4 years. In a couple days will be 4 years. When I first started my business, I knew mostly about Etsy. Etsy. It was great. People were blowing up. So I joined on Etsy, and also it was kind of cheap to go on Etsy. I looked back on it also to like on my posts, because I posted on my personal Instagram, and then I created a business Instagram. So I looked back on it and I would slowly get views, but nobody was ordering up until I got my first Etsy order for a custom remembrance doll, I believe. And at that time, I did not realize the price of actual like plushies. So, I mean, this person was trying to like bargain with me a little bit, but also was having some financial struggles. So I accepted that order, and I think that it wasn't that bad at the time because I didn't go too low, like $5. I think it was like 20, I believe. I think it was like $20. So that first remembrance doll, I had them send a picture in, and then I would do it based off like the outfit and all. So that's what I did. But what really kicked my Etsy off is chunky knit blankets when it became a popular thing in 2020. In December, like I was selling mainly a light blue and a creamy white, kind of like off-white. That was my two best sellers, and that was the only two I really had at the time until like January. I was getting red and all that into there. So I was making a lot of orders on chunky knit blankets, and I priced them at like $40 at the time. $40, yeah. Which wasn't, they were cheaper at the time, yeah, but also I didn't know the price of actually charging for your time. So my chunky knit blankets actually now reflect the time and the material. So when I was first starting off, I grew my Instagram basically off of Instagram groups for small business owners, but I was able to meet a couple of UK people, and I'm still like associated with some of them. Like I see their TikToks every now and then, their Instagram. I know a few of them have done closed by now, and I'm so sorry to hear that. One of them being AEM jewelry designs. She made custom jewelry, like it's more like Western country like. I was able to do a collab with her for American Pride collection. However, that was my first big launch, and there was a lot of things I didn't prep. There was a lot of things I didn't advertise at the time, but also it didn't sell a lot of the jewelry. It sold a lot of the bathing suit covers because I blew up on TikTok because I was making my first bathing suit cover, and that was my first clothing piece I've ever like made for myself, except for hats and scarves and like fingerless gloves. So it was my actual first clothing piece. That one was selling, but not the jewelry. I did get a few sales from in person for the flag blanket and the American flag blanket and the military camo blanket with the vinyl on it. It was saying their rank and what branch they were in. So I had 2 orders on the camo military blanket, and I think that's still the one the 2 orders that I've ever had on that. So it's not a really popular item on my shop, but I still keep it as an option, you know. I was doing custom orders mainly on Etsy. That was really what got my name out there. And I know I don't have a lot of sales to prove like my Etsy is as successful as my business needs to be. However, at the time, I had to take a year and a half off, and I did not start back until like September of last year. So it was from like January 2022 to like September. So it was like over a year. So yeah, I did accept custom orders, but not a lot. I accepted custom orders from like family, friends, and a few small Etsy orders because I was trying to bring my GPA up for my college, and I was going to CNA school, and I just couldn't meet up with the demand. And in order to keep my business like from like absolutely going downhill, I was just not accepting, but just a few here and there. After my break ended in late August of 2023, mainly towards September, closer, I wanted to bring up my business after I got married. I actually got a message on my wedding day from a customer, and I didn't message back because I was literally on my wedding day. Like literally, I was like, really on my wedding day. But I didn't have a lot of messages on there, so it really wasn't I really wasn't like putting it on vacation mode. But now I put it on vacation mode because, yeah. I made a YouTube channel in September, which we're already going up to 1 year in September, which is not too far away. I upped my yarn stash, and I also grabbed some of mine. When I moved in 2022, I was bringing 4 boxes, and my mother allowed for me to keep my yarn wall in my old room. So that's basically my second office. It's just basically my back stock. So that's there. But then also, I cleaned out that entire room, and I brought like 4 boxes. Like it was in the closet. That's what it was. And then when I was starting to bring it in, mostly towards the beginning of September, December, I brought this in. I brought more cues, which I already had. I didn't buy any more. I just grabbed some from the yarn wall that was in my mother's house up here so I can have some more yarn stash to be doing markets. I did my first market in October, which was Fall Fest. I'm still trying to get into there. I still continue to try to do shows, mainly at the Market of the Mill in Pickens. But then I was introduced to the Greenville State Farmers Market in January. My sales boosted. I gotta skip back to November of last year. Then during November of last year, my sales boosted because of my Oogie Boogie inspired door plusher and the plush and the flamingo. So that was mainly what I had orders for last year at the last part, which I'm glad about. I have a few key takes. I will from now on be focusing more on markets closer from March to the rest of the year, because March to really November, because I'm not really gonna do one December because I know they do last minute gifts. However, it wasn't that good when I did it. So, but I'm definitely not doing a market in January. No. I think I would just up my stash next year from January to March and just do like one big one. So I can rely off of that for the next couple markets. So, yeah. I want to also elaborate on, I am trying to grow my business as well. I'm kind of looking into Shopify for a website because I am not meeting my needs from Etsy, and now a lot of orders are going in through the website. So, and I'm trying to bring views into the website, but it's kind of the same price from Etsy pattern with the Shopify. So it doesn't really give me any leeway. But I start literally a year into my business, I had a website. My biggest tip for any new small business owners for Etsy, like, do the Etsy ads periodically. Don't do them constantly. Just do them like periodically, because it's gonna ramp up. Like, I think I left my stuff up for like months and my bill was racked up. Like, I shouldn't have done that, but I didn't know. I was trying to get views on my stuff. So Etsy also takes a lot of like fees. Like, oh my gosh, they take a lot of fees. However, it's getting a little bit better now. However, they got the share and save. When you share a listing, you save money on fees, which is a great thing. But they're also bringing new things to Etsy. However, I need to find something that is easier and more financially worthwhile for my business, for a pattern, because it's just not doing it. I pay $17 for my just regular domain, but then for let me see, June, I was looking at it yesterday, and then I also had domain add-ons is 17. The pattern subscription is actually 15. So most of my bill is from pattern, but it's not bringing in like views. It's just the basic simple pattern. I can't do anything fancy with it. So I want to up my look. I want to bring my brand out and represent actually who I am, and also kind of not have that fee with listing fees, because on top of that, you also got the listing fees that automatically renew like every month. Like, it's ridiculous with 20 cents. I mean, I know 20 cents, but like, come on now. Like, my bill is already like 30 something dollars. So I'm paying out normally 40 a month just for Etsy. Like, I know it's like Shopify and Etsy are like the same price, but I'm trying to up my look. So I might play around with Shopify today. However, I got to ship out orders. I got to be able to clear out some orders. And if you are wanting to purchase, I'm having a sale from now. Actually, I started like Monday? From yesterday all the way to the 7th. I think it ends the 7th at midnight, I believe. It should be. Where it's 35% off. This is the biggest deal I have ever done, except for my rugs. I tried to clearance them out at 50% to try to get them out, but they never sold. So that was when I discontinued them. So if you really, really, really want something right now, if you really want something from my shop, please enjoy yourself to a 35% off, because that's the best deal you're ever going to get, because I don't normally run a sale like that. I am running Etsy ads on there. However, I got my budget at $2, but I'm also going to cut it off after the 7th. So yeah, I'm going to have a little bit of a bill, but then also I have more views, you know? So that's going to end it for this video. I hope Snuggles and Fun Crafts builds up to this potential. We're not really meeting our sales goal. I wanted 400 by the end of the year, and we're already like past halfway, and we're like 249. We are making some progress. We are, in December we hit 200 sales, not 2,000. I wish 2,000. 200 sales. So we are growing a little bit faster this year. It's going to just take some time, which I'm okay with because I also have a full-time job. But also some of those sales are from my in-person events. So that is where this video is going to end. Thank you so much for joining in my little chat. And I hope you enjoyed this video. And we might have some bonus content on Thursday or Friday. I just don't know which day. So stay tuned for that. Don't forget to enter to the giveaway. Comment a purple heart. Comment your favorite animal. And you got to be in the US. And you got to be at least 18 and above. Follow my Instagram and make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube. So it's a little bit of a qualification, but I hope that you enjoy it. And you have a chance of entering for an elephant or a cow. And I posted my cow in the community tab. So if you want to check out there, see what you're going to have a chance to win, it's in there. So I'll see you guys next time. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you're watching this video. And I'll see you either Thursday or next week. Bye.